Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. It's going to be another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we are going to do a guide on the Ice Golem. So I kind of finished off the set. I've done Dragons, I've done Spider, I've done Fire Knights. So Ice Golem's kind of the last of the dungeon guides that I'm going to do in kind of full detail. We have got an Ice Golem tournament coming out in 11 hours. Probably by the time I actually post this video, it's going to be pretty much... yeah, maybe it's going to be bang on when I post it, I don't know. But yeah, this is going to be a guide to help people get through the Ice Golem tournament and generally get through your Ice Golem fights. So I guess what I'm going to do is just show you through some different sort of setups. Within those setups, I'm just going to explain what I'm looking for, why I'm doing what I'm doing, and hopefully help you guys to find ways to beat the Ice Golem. So what we're going to do is just have a quick look at the dungeon. Ice Golem has got a number of drops like the rest. So it's got the first kind of, 5 drops here are the basic sets that you can actually go and farm in campaign. Life set and offense set I rarely use anymore. So life set you can pretty much replace with Immortal. There's an upgraded version. And offense set you can pretty much replace with Cruel. Both of those are from Clan Boss. And again, it's an upgraded version of those two. Now, a lot of people overlook defense set and resistance set. They're both really, really strong. Defense set is really strong for your clan boss teams and for your arena teams if you're going for a more tanky team. Resistance set is just really strong in the arena. So don't just kind of bin those off. They're actually pretty decent. Crit rate's always useful to have. There's loads of champions that need crit rate to be effective. I guess you try and get your crit rate from other sets if you can, but if you need those kind of few pieces of crit rate set on just to cap off your crit rate, then that's worth keeping those. The ones in here, so I don't really love retaliation set, albeit it's got a kind of, I guess, a niche use. So you've got 25% chance to retaliate when hit. It's a 4-piece set. I don't feel like that needs to be a 4-piece set. I think that's probably why it's not used. Even if it was a 3-piece set and they introduced some of these 4-piece sets and perhaps tune them down to 3-piece, I think they'd be more usable. Reflex is pretty niche but decent. So Reflex gives you 30% chance to cool down a random skill. If you've got champions that only have skills on their A2, so a good example of that is Skullcrusher. So Skullcrusher's got a basic A1. He's got a skill in his A2, and then everything else about his kit is passive. So if he's only got one ability to reset, that set will always cool down the ability you want it to. Same with Bad L. Bad L's only got one ability to reset. There's a number in the game. So it's quite niche, but good to have a set of Reflex just in case. Cursed is pretty much just going straight in the bin. The only time I could see anyone wanting to farm Cursed is if they do not have a champion that can put a heal reduction debuff on the Fire Knight. So again, maybe keep a set. If you're early game, keep the pieces that you get and you don't have those champions. But you'd hope by the time you get into sort of mid game, you've got at least somebody that's going to put that on, or you've got a strong enough team just to kind of burn through it. And then the last set in here is Taunting. Taunting sets, very, very cool. It's very decent for helping you get through dungeon content, waves, things like dragon waves, things like actually here, waves in the Ice Golems, things like the arena, forcing people to come at you. So you put a taunt set on someone like a Hegemon, it's disgusting. Similarly with somebody like a Tormund. So it's not the best set which forces someone to do something like that. You'd rather have stun set, or probably Daze set. It's probably on a par with Daze, maybe a bit better than Daze, but it's still good. It's all about controlling your enemy, and it's good for doing that. So let's get into the fight. So like most of these dungeons, you've got 2 phases to the fight. You've got your trash mobs. So you've got 2 waves of 4 mobs to deal with, and then you go into the main boss. And you need to think about that when you're doing your setups. So for Ice Golems, when I'm thinking about a team to put out, what I'm looking for is somebody that can decrease defense to help me get through the waves and help me do damage to the boss. I'm looking for somebody that can shield or protect my team It might be a protection through shield set. It might be a protection through a shield ability. It might just be a sort of overtime heal. But you need your guys pretty much well topped off because the boss hits hard and he hits often. So in this instance here, I've got Reliquary Tender, who's in a shield set, who does regular healing. Warlord's fantastic because he puts up shields. We've also got, in terms of another legendary that I use, what's her face here? Blind Seer is excellent for this encounter. Same sort of reason, she puts up decent shields. There is a rare, I think it might be Valkyrie, that does shielding as well. But yeah, shielding is helpful. So we've got decreased defense. We've got somebody who shields or heals and protects. Ideally, you have somebody in there that does a lot of poison. So Tomb Lord as a legendary is actually fantastic for this fight. He puts up a lot of poison. The poisons go across all of the enemies, and he basically brings a load of utility to this fight. You could also use someone like a Kale. You could use, who else does mass poison? Bad El, but again, that's another legendary. Somebody like an Occult Brawler or a Steel Skull, their poison is too directed at one person. You want the poisons to go on the boss, the enemy boss, as a kind of mainstay. So they're not, somebody like a Occult Brawler or Steel Skull is not quite as strong for this type of fight. So we've got decreased defense, we've got poisons, we've got shielding and heals. Ideally, you've got somebody in there that does a revive because there's a good chance somebody's going to get taken out in your team. And then you ideally then just want to sort of throw in people that are going to give you either shielding or damage. So in terms of team setups, there's a whole bunch that you could do. So we're on a green affinity, so you don't want to be throwing in someone like a War Maiden if you can help it, because she's just going to get nuked down. Apothecary is good in basically any dungeon, so he can come in and do work. You don't really want to throw in people that do max enemy HP. So someone like a Cold Heart, someone like a Royal Guard, they're just going to get you into trouble. The mechanics on the boss, I don't know if I can pull it up here, can I? No. The mechanics on the boss are basically, I'll run through them before we get into the fight, and I'll kind of refresh as we go through it. Basically, he has 5 different points where he can do a big AoE counterattack hit. So when his health gets to 80%, 60%, 45%, 30% and 15%, on each of those levels, he's basically going to do a return hit. The return hit hits harder if he's got any of his ads left up. So he's got 2 ads. When he does that return hit, he revives both of them if they're dead. If one of them is dead, he will ignore 50% of your defense. And if both of them are dead, he ignores 100% of your defense. So if you can imagine how much harder you hit when you put decreased defense on somebody, he's basically removing all of your defense if you leave those ads up. So there's kind of a few things that you can try and do. You can either try and kill those ads with somebody that does not allow them to revive, or you bring enough damage and just kind of work your way through the ads every time he revives them. Probably the hardest thing to control is if you actually get through 2 of those thresholds at the same time. And that's why I say don't use a max HP champion. So if I used a Cold Heart and she actually nuked this enemy boss for half his health, let's say, potentially what I do is I trigger his ability to hit me as a counter-attack twice. So he counter-attacks, revives his ads. He then counter-attacks straight away again with both ads up and ignores all of my defense, which is generally where you're going to wipe. Because of that, it can't be the quickest runs. You might get, if you've got a speed team, you might do it in 2 minutes, but that's like really high end. Expect this to be one of your slower dungeons. It's more about control, it's about staying alive, and it's about staying in the game. At the same time, when he's doing that return hit, he starts off with a 20% chance to freeze you. For each ally that he's got alive, that goes up by another 40%. So if he is there with both of his ads up, he's going to 100% freeze you unless you've got enough resistance or unless you've got somebody that's throwing block debuffs up. So there's a lot of information I've just thrown at you there, but because of that information, it kind of helps us decide who we're going to pick. So someone with block debuffs is helpful. As I said, shielding is helpful, and don't pick your kind of normal go-tos like your Cold Hearts and your Royal Guards. What's quite useful in this fight as well is something like Stalwart set. So Stalwart set reduces damage from AoE hits. Everything he does is AoE. Everything his adds do are AoE. So if you've got people in Stalwart set, that's going to reduce the damage you take by 30%. If you're lucky enough to have a Duchess, that's going to reduce all your damage by 40%. Whack it with some Stalwart gear and you're basically getting tickled. So just a bit of a tip there. So anyway, let's get into some fights. I've probably bored everyone to death. Okay, so we're going to throw in, we need someone for our decreased defense. Tyrell does this really well in this fight. Somebody like Valor does it reasonably well. Tomb Lord is top tier for this fight for this. We could put somebody in like, who else would do my decreased defense? Trying to think of people that are not legendary. Azura's pretty good for it. She would do it on a number of people. Zardgala's not good because she's negative affinity. Same sort of thing with War Maiden. Madame Therese is decent for it. So there's quite a few champions that could come in, do the AoE decreased defense. It's a really important part of the fight. And I'm going to use Tomb Lord, so he brings me some poison as well. And then I'm going to throw in Miscreated Monster. So Miscreated Monster is really good for control. He will control the waves. He will control the adds when we get to the boss. He'll give me good shielding. Remember, I need shielding for the boss part of the fight. So let's get into the fight and I can kind of talk you through it as we go. So here we go, decreased defense and attack. We then get our nukes coming through from the team. We've got a couple of stuns off there from Miscreated Monster just to control the adds. And this part of the fight, you know, for level 20, it's all about control. We do not want to let these adds start coming at us. You probably find if you've got a reasonably decent team, you'll be running through these adds in about 30 seconds. And then we'll kind of get through to the second wave. The second wave is way more dangerous. The second wave is dangerous because they can actually completely wipe your team with the right setup. So we're just going to get through. I've just lost my decreased defense and attack, so I'm not going to have that for a while. So at this stage, it's just about putting out some damage. You see that all of these poisons here are decent because they're going to tick off without causing me to take damage when the Reflect ability comes up. The two front ones are the problem. They put Reflect. Here you go. See that Reflect damage? Now, if one of my guys does a nuke, he's going to kill himself. So you kind of need just steady damage at this point. If I had a Royal Guard here right now, he would do the big swing and he would kill himself. This Created Monster creates some shields for me, so that shielding is just really useful. And the poisons are going to be what ends up sort of doing the bulk of the damage at this stage. So probably end up getting to the boss at, I don't know, maybe 135, 140 or so. As I say, it's quite a slow fight. You don't expect to be doing this in 1 minute runs. It doesn't work that way. It's a harder fight. It's probably the most simple, probably the most simple dungeon in terms of mechanics, but it is a difficult fight. You see, we got through that. Now, if I just pause it a second. So what we've got to watch out for here, the boss is going to do that counter attack big swing at 80%, 60, 45, 30 and 15. So when he hits that kind of threshold on his life, whether these adds are alive or not, he's going to do a return hit which hits really hard. When you're on auto, your guys will focus the adds as their primary, and that's what you want. So you need to take these adds out before you go for the main boss. If you're on, let's say you're on like level 10, level 11, something like that, you could just blitz through the boss, to be fair. You could blitz your way through the boss and you'd probably do it. But be careful, because when he swings, if these two adds are up, you are going to take a massive, massive hit. If the adds are down, it's like a little tickle. So, yeah, it's such a difference. You just kind of need your guys to be able to deal with these adds. So that was his normal A kind of 2. It's just an AoE hit with a chance to do decreased accuracy. That's not the problem hit. It hits okay levels, but nothing crazy. See, we're taking out one of the adds. One add does decrease defense across the whole board. The other add does heal reduction. So again, taking out the adds just kind of stops that coming at you. So we had one add up, and I basically would have had there 50% of my defense removed before he did his swing. So it was still a danger time, but not too bad. Both adds up, hits really hard. So he's got this, this is his passive here. So when he does that swing, he's going to revive his allies, and the swing ignores 50% of my defense. So you see here, I had one. I might even trigger the second one really quickly. The poison damage does not trigger the same mechanic, which is why poison is so good on this fight. You do not get the same damage threshold triggers if he feels that damage when it goes through poison, which means you can speed the fight up a lot with poisoners. Here we go. You see that? So the poison got myself through the damage, and I didn't get the return hit. If I hit him through the damage threshold, I definitely would have got the return hit. It's really, I don't know if I've made that clear enough. So at this stage of the fight, the guys just focus the boss, by the way. But yeah, so if you get poison that gets through the thresholds, he doesn't do his spike return hit. If it's you hitting him to get through the thresholds, he definitely will. That's why poisons are so good here. So let's just flip this up a little bit. Let's show you a couple of other kind of team setups. So someone, let's just get some decent champs in here. So I'm going to do something which is a bit of a faster run, just to give you an idea. So someone like Norog has got an ability which is AoE, and it stops people being able to cast buffs. He's really good for the second wave of this fight. Umbral, very good for the second wave of this fight. Seer is very good for both waves of this fight. Maybe I'll do a run with Seer actually. She could be quite fun. So Seer, you want people on your team that can do buffs. If you can put some buffs on yourself, then she rips those buffs off and she does damage with those buffs. So let's find some people that are going to do some buffing for me. So we'll keep him in. Let's get rid of our Kale. Let's put in a Steel Skull. Who else is going to do a load of buffs? So any counter attacker would do buffs. We've got anyone up here that might be quite fun. Still got my decreased defense here. Still got my poison. I've got speed. I've got shielding. So let's just go with Seer. So what you'll find is Seer gets you through the waves really quick. She's not the best at the actual boss part of the fight, but she is good fun for the waves. So she throws up Weaken. I'm going to get decreased defense on here. Loads of buffs on me. Next time Seer gets a go, she's going to rip them off and smash the enemy. It's probably about as quick as you can get through the first two waves if you've got it built well. So I've got it built heavy crit rate, crit damage, and she's quite quick. But really you just want to kind of rotate to that ability again as quickly as we can. If you've got someone like a Kaimar, I can show you a Kaimar fight in a second. Then he basically will do the reset of that, and then it's kind of bonkers because she's just constantly ripping everyone's buffs off and nuking down the enemies. So there you go again, pretty much everyone dead, 40 odd seconds, and and no worries. So what you need though is, because she's not going to do the damage to the actual boss, you do need somebody who is going to do that damage to the boss for you. So she's not going to be the most useful person when we get to the ads here now. So main reason is she won't do that ability when the ads are up. There's like a mechanic built into this boss that a lot of your big AoE hitters won't activate when the ads are up. I don't know why. I guess they don't want to. I don't know why actually. It doesn't make any sense to me. But you see how much of a hit we took there because both ads are up. Really dangerous time. Seer's probably about to die unless we get some healing going on. But there, she should have done a Karma burn there. She didn't do it. She didn't do it because the ads are alive. If the ads drop, she will do it. So that was his standard A2. We're about to get through to, now the next stage is going to be 60%. Both ads are down. See, she now does it when the ads are down. Which is quite frustrating because she would actually nuke the ads down really easily. But anyway, this is a relatively simple run now. Once you get to this stage, as long as you've got decent control of the ads, you'll be fine. I'll show you, I guess, a run where we put people in that will do mass damage just so you can see what they're going to do. Look at that hit there. So this is a danger now. She's probably just gotten through 2 thresholds. See? Second hit came in. Luckily we had a shield gum up from Miscreated Monster, otherwise that would have been lights out. But if you were to keep If you didn't have that kind of support champion in there, that would have been a wipe right there. Also, if you have a counter-attack champion and you keep counter-attacking the boss, then there's a good chance you're going to push yourself through a different threshold again and nuke your own team. So there's some real things to watch out for in this. Max HP champions, watch out for them. Counter-attack champions, watch out for them. They can wipe your team really easily. What we're going to do is I'm going to throw a team out that's got those max HP hitters, just so you can kind of see. It's still possible to run with them. I still do usually run with one, but they're dangerous. So I could run with a Kaimar, Royal Guard, so let's do the Royal Guard hits, Kaimar to reset them. Where's my Kaimar? This is more like a high-end team. It's a high-end team, but it's a really dangerous team. So this won't be 100% success rate on this boss, but if it's successful, it should be really fast. But decrease defense and attack up, slam with the Royal Guard, slam again with the Royal Guard, reset abilities, nuke down with the miscreated monster. Everyone's got their abilities back again, and we basically do the same to wave 2. So slam, bam, bam, 16 seconds, we're on to the boss. We've still got poisons for the boss, which is good. But, as I say, it's a more dangerous setup because now we're just kind of risking our lives. See how much damage the miscreated monster just took there because we went through the threshold really quick. So it's a dangerous setup. I don't really have a lot of healing in this set, so I need to... Yeah, see, I'm in trouble right now. I'm probably going to die because there's still one add up. Miscreated monster's gone down. Got no one to pick him up in this setup. Although I've cleaned through the waves in no problem, no time, I'm wiped. And that is the danger with a kind of what I'd call a true speed farm. If I did the same sort of lineup again, but just had somebody in there who could heal me and control speed, so I'm not going to be able to nuke down the waves in the same sort of fashion, because I don't have 2 Royal Guards doing this damage, but we'll still nuke them down pretty quick. But basically what this means now is I've had all the reset for the first wave. I don't have the same sort of reset levels for the second wave. So we still end up taking quite a while to clear second wave. So it doesn't become like a true speed farm. But it'll still be quite quick. Because we got through the first wave so fast. And we'll get the kind of reset of abilities quite soon. But yeah, I mean, if you look at this, the whole premise of this is still poison plus speed plus support, plus kind of damage, extra poison. I never really, in any dungeon team, unless I've got a true sort of speed farm, actually I lost somebody there. Oh yeah, see Royal Guard did his nuke against the reflect damage, he's on the floor, having a sleep. That's the problem with someone like him. But yeah, it's always the same sort of setup for me. It's about just keeping team synergy. And I can't stress it enough, for all of these dungeons, it's just about what sort of areas do we need to cover, and then how do I cover them with as much efficiency as I can with the champions I've got. Yes, I mean what I'd say is just be careful of AoE damage. AoE damage is really risky in this fight. We're really risky right now. If he doesn't die, he did. If he didn't die then, I probably would have lost somebody. We kind of need Apothecary to be working overtime to just be healing people up here. But he has done, which is good. Got the poisons running through. And we've got a hit coming in, but it's not too bad. The good thing is, if you've only got one add up, as long as he's low, you can take him down first early. And then again, it kind of gives you a chance to not take such a beating on those big hits. So this is not going to end up being a speed farm. I lost my Royal Guard early. But yeah, I guess you get the idea. There's, in fact, I might even struggle to do it. Depends if I get enough healing, which I think I probably will. But it's just making sure you've got those right components in here. And it's also being patient with the sort of times that you're going to run. Don't expect initially to be doing, as I say, 2-minute times. It's really difficult to get anything under 3 minutes for runs unless you're very well geared and you've got really decent high-end teams. We cleared the ads out. Now what we were hoping for is these poisons to be the damage dealers rather than our champions to be the damage dealers. Didn't get it there. See, he hit him over the threshold, which meant that we didn't get just the poison hits. Therefore, he revived his ads. He's maxed out on poisons here, so we're going to get a good chunk of damage. And at this stage, we might as well just go straight for him. So I clicked on him there. I think the AI probably would have done that anyway. And providing... Yeah, he's just going to die. He's gone. So yeah, just over 3 minutes with somebody on the deck. It's not too bad. That's not too bad. So let's just have a look then at a couple of other sort of setups. Let's try and get some more rares in. So 1, 2, 3. I do need somebody who's done a decreased defense. So I'll bring in Tyrell. We could bring in someone like Morsian Mage. You could bring in somebody like a Bellower for the control on the wave. Fellhound, that's the same sort of thing, controlling the waves. Let me just have a think about which Bellower is which. I think that's the one that's in my stun set. Stun sets are good here because it just kind of helps you. I'm not sure actually which one's which. Oh, they're both in stun sets. Okay. So let's bring in a Bellower. So in this setup, the Bellower is the wave control. We've still got a decreased defense from our Tyrell. We've still got our poisons from our Kale. All we'll find is it's a slower run because we don't have as strong champions out there. But it will still be a similar sort of setup. It's about controlling the wave. Don't let them come after you. And get yourself to the boss and let Kale do the work on the boss. So if you're in like level 14, 15 and you've got these champions, you know what? You won't have as good as gear as I've got, but then you're fighting much easier mobs to kill. So the setup still works. I'll go through some gearing on a few of these champions after this fight to kind of round off the video. Basically, you won't see any of my champions here in full offensive gear. You won't survive if you've got full offensive gear. You saw how quickly Royal Guard went down in that last fight. That's because he was in full offense. So you need to have survivability to get through these battles. Same with any of the dungeons really, but in particular this one because you definitely are going to take hits in this dungeon. So you see here what Bellower does well, he's put block cooldowns on the enemy's abilities, which means we're not getting that shriek ability, which means we're not getting the return damage. So again, he kind of brings something a little bit different, but it's very cool. It's really helpful for this part of the fight. So we're going to cruise through. I don't even know if we've really taken much of a hit here, and just get ourselves through to the boss part. And the only thing you'll find here is because we've got less powerful champs, obviously the boss part of the fight is going to take longer. I think what I'll do here, this team is very capable of taking this boss down. I'm not going to show you it through to the end. I've shown you a few. We're cut off here, and I'll just go and show you some of the gear from the champions that I am using. So, who have I been using? I've been using people like Miscreated Monster. Where are you? Miscreated Monster is in a Relentless set. He's in HP set. All I'm trying to do here is punch as much HP as possible into him. Reasonable speed, good crit rate, and good accuracy. He's in good gear, guys, but the fundamentals are HP, speed, crit rate, accuracy. If I look at somebody like my Apothecary, he has got good HP, good defense, very good speed. Don't care about anything else. If I look at my... Who else have we had in the fights here? I think they might be in the vaults. So we've had Tomb Lord in, take him out to have a look. We've had the Tyrell in, Royal Guard, Reliquary Tender, a Bellower, a Kale. I think that's about it. So you'll see they're all in... we had a Norog in, so Norog's in lifesteal set. He's in decent gear actually. Tomb Lord, is in mixed sets, so speed, accuracy, and cruel. Main thing for him is get the speed to a good level, get his accuracy high, decent HP, decent defense, decent crit rate. Very similar to some of the other stuff I've just shown you. Tyrell, decent accuracy, decent speed, good defense. Reliquary Tender, you just ideally, I put her in a shield set because it helps the rest of the team out. But again, good defense, good speed. So if I think about her, I've got her in defense gloves, defense chest, speed boots. And then these items down here are going to be HP or defense. And she's in an attack banner just because of the speed, but really defense is probably better there as well. Bellower, I've got her in a stun set. His stats are not insane. Good HP, good speed, good crit rate, good accuracy. So you see, there's a bit of a theme here. Everyone's kind of got the same thing, and it's not all about what's my attack. You know, if I talk about Kale, when he's in reasonably low gear really for where I am, level 8 chest, level 8 shield, level 8 other stuff down here. He's not in good gear, but defense chest, HP, gloves, speed boots, and then all I'm looking for is decent accuracy, decent speed, good HP, okay defense. Yeah, so it's the same kind of setup that I've shown you on those other guys. It's what works. It helps you get through the dungeons. If you've got champions which are OP and you've already kind of properly tuned them up, by all means go full damage. Go full damage. But most people can't do that, which means you need to survive first. Survive first. Go fast enough to keep yourselves going. Make sure you land your debuffs. Anything else is a bonus. So guys, I think that is going to be it for my Ice Golem guide. Hopefully you've learned a bit from that. Any questions or tips in terms of what combinations you guys use, please post them down below. I'd love to hear what teams you're running. If anyone's got any really fun speed teams, again, drop me a line. I'd love to hear what they are. Yeah, it's been Hell Hades. Catch you later.